Good afternoon. I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times with news from Arkansas on Monday, August 15th. Trial began today in Hot Springs with Circuit Judge Wade Narramore. He's a juvenile judge in Hot Springs who was charged last summer with negligent homicide after forgetting his 18-month-old child in a car when he went to work. The child died of heat stroke on what was a very hot day. Jury questioning is underway this morning and this afternoon. Many in the jury pool knew about the case, have opinions of the case. Most say they could put it aside to make a judgment. The defense in the case has indicated it's going to seek from the judge a narrower definition of what constitutes a charge of negligent homicide, that it has to be blameworthy for somebody to be convicted rather than the simpler standard of simply being able to foresee that the actions were taken could have caused a death. It's not quite clear how long this trial is going to take. Also in Hot Springs today, news that Friday at midday, a person who was fairly well known, Stephen Eugene Cawley, a big-time lawyer who went to prison for 7 years, a little over 7 years ago, for stealing $9 million from his clients, had died at his home on Lake Hamilton near Hot Springs. It's been ruled a suicide by the sheriff's office. He hanged himself. His life was in great disarray after his prison sentence. He had said at the time of his sentencing that he'd been subject to depressive episodes. All the news seems to be in Hot Springs this week. We'll have more news later this week of an effort by preservationists to stop the city's removal of rubble and the teardown of what remains of the historic Old Majestic Hotel, which was hit by a huge fire some time back. She'd like to see the building saved and a preservationist preserve what's left of it for Hot Springs. Also kind of affecting Hot Springs in a sense, more petition signatures were turned in today for a constitutional amendment to allow 3 more casinos in Arkansas to compete with the 2 that exist, one in Hot Springs and one in West Memphis. The Secretary of State's office still has to verify those signatures. Today's the first day of school in Arkansas, and this coincides with a report that the NAACP has endorsed a resolution that calls for a moratorium on continued privately managed charter school operations. It says these public funded schools contribute to segregation. They amount to the educational equivalent of subprime mortgages. They rue the fact that they cost local control of schools. That's of course an issue in Arkansas where charter schools are on the growth curve, thanks in part to great support from the Republican administration in Arkansas, which has adopted the Walton Family Foundation school choice agenda almost in whole. The Satanists, Satanic Temple, they're back. Last week they filed an application formally to place a monument on the state capitol grounds. This is in response to the fact that the movement is now underway to get approval of a 10 Commandments monument on the capitol ground. If one religion is to be recognized, the Satanists say, they want their Baphomet statue to be placed on the capitol grounds as well. They've suggested some locations, one of them 1 foot in front of the 10 Commandments monument. That would certainly create some heartburn for Senator Jason Rayburn, I suppose. Money in politics in the news lately. One is that lawyers have contributed $400,000 in Arkansas to the campaign to oppose the nursing home amendment that would seek to put a severe limit on damages and lawsuits against nursing homes and other medical providers for neglect, abuse, and malpractice. Lawyers, of course, bring forth a lot of the cases that would just about be put out of business if they were unable to win any money for suing in the future. We also learned that Ron Cameron, the wealthy poultry magnate who contributes a lot of conservative causes, contributed $100,000 last week to a very conservative candidate for Republican Attorney General in Missouri. This is in keeping with the Koch brothers and other similar ultra-conservative wealthy contributors who focused a lot of their giving at the state level where they can get quick results for their efforts. Attorney generals are a very popular target for conservative contributors because they're so important in, among other things, environmental regulation. The same group that's supporting this candidate in Missouri helped elect Leslie Rutledge in Arkansas. She has more than 24 efforts underway to promote the conservative agenda in either courts or regulatory agencies, never on the side of clean air or clean water, I can tell you, but more often on the side of the Koch brothers and their energy company and fossil fuel burning outfits. Finally, one other thing, you can go to moveon.org, and if you want to sign one of their petition campaigns, look up one put up there by the University of Arkansas Student Government Associations. It's calling on the Washington County Election Commission to open an early voting center on the UA campus for the coming November election. The commission's supposed to meet on that this week. The idea is that a place that has some 30,000 people coming through every day, students, faculty, and all the rest, is a logical place to have an early voting center. It saves gas, people driving around. It almost certainly would encourage voting. Now, you have to understand that the Republican commissions in Arkansas are now, the election commissions in Arkansas are now controlled by Republicans, and there's recent polling that shows 4 out of 5 millennials, that's younger people, are going to vote Democratic in the November election. So what do you think the odds are that the Washington County Election Commission will allow a means to make it easier for students at the University of Arkansas to vote? Politics or the ballot? That's the choice in Fayetteville. I think I know where I'll bet my money. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.